I can't help but be racist. It's true. Well,
no offense, David Jaffe, but That's bullshit.
It's nice to see you all. Welcome to the Gavin and the Games. Well, hello, fellas and filettis. It is I, your delightful, delinquent debutante, Jaffe. Nice to see everybody. Good to have you here. I appreciate it. Welcome to the afternoon show, the show where we focus entirely and solely on the video games and the news of the day and just games that we love in general. It should be a fun, interesting show. Thank you for being here. That was the Astro Bot Christmas level that dropped recently. And I'll tell you something, I'm hearing really, really, really good things about it. And I will probably re-download the game. And I'm almost done with it. You know, people seem to think I hate Astro Bot. And I don't hate Astro Bot at all. It's just not mostly for me. It's not what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be more of an adventure and less of like a actual platformer. I wanted more like a Banjo-Kazooie or a Ratchet and Clank. And but it's clearly really well made and it's really, really good. And so I will finish it because the only way to get to the Christmas level, which is free, is to finish the main game. So I probably will do that. We'll see. I got to finish Indie, which I'm loving. I'm almost done with Among Ashes, which is, I mean, you know, I was thinking about this last night. I was playing this horror game, Among Ashes. It's an indie horror game, cost you $13 on Steam. I think it's on PS5. It's absolutely excellent. It's very clever. It's very unique. And I was also playing While We Wait Here, which I need to finish. And then a lot of people are now starting to hear about Mouthwash or Mouthwashing, whatever it's called, which I played and really enjoyed. And I got to thinking when I was playing Among Ashes last night, just, you know, why is it that people are not really paying attention to some of the best horror games out there? And maybe it's because game media covers it. Like I sometimes stream on Cody Leach, who's like a really big horror reviewer and horror YouTuber. And I started to think that maybe I should go over there and just say, hey, can you talk about this? Or can you post a video for me or whatever? Because there's so many just really great horror games that get missed every single year that I don't know why they get missed. I mean, I'm not, you know, I don't go out of my way to play everything. I just, you know, gravitate to new stuff because my brain gets bored real easy. And maybe that puts me in a place to find this stuff. But man, Among Ashes is so clever and interesting. And While We Wait Here, I mean, and all it really does is shine a light on how weird it is that we're nominating and awarding Game of the Years, well before all the games have come out, right? So, but again, I mean, I get it. We don't get into that. I know why they do it, but I will absolutely be talking about these at my favorite games I played this year's show, which I'm starting to think may be close to New Year's. And if you're a member and you want to send in a 1 or 2 minute video talking about your 1 to 3 games that you love the most this year, hit me up on the DM. I'll integrate those into the show. But I will say that I won't call them Game of the Year. There is no Game of the Year. It's going to be like my top 10 games that I love the most in 2024 or something like that, because it's ludicrous to think about the idea that it's actually the best game. They're all very different. They all serve very, very different purposes. Mouthwashing has started to get coverage. Jim Sterling or Stephanie Sterling did, absolutely. Chris Raygun on Sacred Symbols mentioned it. That's really good. So yeah, I mean, some games will break out. Mouthwashing seems to be one of them. Gene covered it. I think Asmongold played it. I would like to just make it very clear. I played it well before all these guys. Talked about it on my stream well before all these guys. But, you know, so I'm just saying, if you want to get ahead of the curve, this is where you need to come. But that said, though, or at least follow me on the Twitter. But yeah, there's a bunch of games like that this year that really are not getting, the amazing attention that I really, really think they should. But certainly Astro Bot is not one of them. And again, sir, if you just heard, this is the Astro Bot level that we were just looking at a moment ago. Can't see in these goddamn glasses to save my life. It looks delightful, man. It looks really good. And, everyone who's played it says, no, it's fucking excellent. Like, I wasn't interested in any of the DLC for Astro Bot because I don't like speed runs and I don't like challenge levels or anything like that. But this just looks like a traditional level that has all the great holiday flavor. And I'm super, super excited. I'm going to turn this off, though. I don't want you to see any secrets because I know a lot of people don't like that sort of shit. And I get it. Yeah, mouth washing is intense, Real Boss Moss, but I will tell you that I think While We Wait Here and Among Ashes are better, believe it or not. I just do. I do. I think mouth washing is weird and interesting and tries a lot of strange things and everything, which is wonderful. But I think as solid experiences, I think the other ones are better. But it's great. It's absolutely great. TJI says, I liked your video on Naughty Dog's new game, Intergalactic. You merged the creative and business concept well. Yeah, I was up till 3 a.m. doing that because I got a request on the Discord. Someone said, Darth Nugget says, another contrarian take. What's the contrarian take? That I like Astro Bot? I don't love Astro Bot? Oh, mouthwashing? Hey, you should play it. Mouthwashing is absolutely cool. I mean, I can, here's the deal. I'm not being contrarian to be contrarian. I'm being contrarian because I have a lot of data that you may not. So when I first played mouthwashing, I was with a lot of other people. I was and I still am, enraptured by the unique structure of the game and the way you play different points of view and what is happening and how it slowly unveils itself to the audience. I think it's absolutely wonderful. But Among Ashes, I think, is a more satisfying piece of gameplay. It's more enjoyable to solve those puzzles. It's more enjoyable to have those aha moments, and there are a lot of them in Among Ashes. While We Wait Here is insanely surprising and original, and I've never played a game like it when it comes to what it's about. Like, it's one of those things that you could imagine somebody in a brainstorm session saying, I want to make a horror game, and it's the whole thing is set in a diner. And you're like, that sounds fun. Like, it sounds cool to say I made a whole horror movie and it's all one location, but usually those don't work out. Sometimes they do. But this actually fucking worked out. And that's where we get While We Wait Here from. So I'm not hating on mouthwash. I think mouthwashing is great. It'll be in my top 10 of the year easily. Ryan, I'm going to tell you, let's just say this, Ryan, I'm not in the mood today. You know how some days I'm in the mood to fuck around. Since you've become a member, all you do is troll. And I don't really care about keeping you as a member if this is going to be our relationship, because it's basically you paying me to annoy me. And that's fine. I'll take your money, but I'll also basically mute you. So you make a call, buddy. Okay. Jaffe loves to hate on the popular stuff. I really don't. I love the popular stuff. Anyway. Jaffe says, referable snail. If you're not jacking off to Astro Bot Daily, you're contrarian. I suppose so. Thank you, Quickstopher. I appreciate that, buddy. Very kind. Nice to have you here, man. Jaffe, I'm not going to tell you where I'm at in Indiana Jones, but I'm playing that, and I am absolutely loving the shit out of Indiana Jones as well. So it's the stuff, man. It's the good people. I do want to say, Ryan says, damn, buddy, well, it's my opinion. Yes, and you're being an obnoxious ass constantly on this channel, and I'm getting tired of it. Okay? Okay, baby? There we go. Listen to this. Jojo D's been a member for 50 months. Culticalypso. Here's what he comes in and says. He comes in hot. He says, on the 9th day of Christmas, Gavin and Games gave to me, will there be a game movie night Xmas style? I have hoped the complex for 3 years. Yes, there will be a New Year's stream, whether it's on New Year's Eve. It probably will be, but I'm not entirely sure what plans are. And there will be some Christmas stuff announced very soon. There will be Lunch with Jaffe coming up this Thursday, by the way. I'll give more details tomorrow. for Cult Calypso and above. Hopefully we'll see you there. And there will also certainly be another game night and or movie night that is Christmas themed. Absolutely. And on top of that, JoJo D has stepped up and said, you know what, Jaffe, here, take this goddamn membership. And I'm gifting 5 of them. Think about that. So these movie nights that we're talking about, which are members only, these game nights, members only, all of these can now be attended because of the generosity of JoJo D. Thank you, buddy. Thank you very, very much. Here's who got them. Usain Bolt, Corny Puddle, Left Control Gaming, Jimmy Ludwig, and Daywalker 927. Very cool, very generous. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it, man. Okay, Indy Jones is actually good, says Thanatos, and I'm enjoying it. This is coming from someone who doesn't know much about it. I think that's great. I love, absolutely love that I hear that a lot, that people are saying, I didn't grow up with Indy, I didn't love the movies, but I absolutely think the game is really, really cool. Because it means that, you know, maybe it'll do well, and maybe it will, you know, sell some copies and get enough engagement that we'll get sequels. I certainly hope so. PK says, Jaffe, is Gina coming on today since she didn't show up for the Game Awards? I don't know. You'd have to ask her. I don't even know if she's watching the show right now. I'd play Indy, says Brad Skagg. It looks fun. It's really fun. It's really, really fun. Okay. Yeah, Machine Games was a great choice. And the other thing I'll say, Snail X, is that what's cool about Indiana Jones is it really is a very different kind of AAA game. It's really cool to see a AAA game that isn't just action coming out the butt, but it's very much action adventure or adventure action. Darth Nugget says, I think the lady sidekick fake nun character is a little buggy as far as those NPCs go, but loving the game. Oh yeah, the AI in the game is not very good. And if the game was really built on deep stealth and deep combat, I think people would walk away from it and say, yeah, not so much. But since that's almost like window dressing, it kind of doesn't matter. At least it doesn't to me. By the way, Lucas says, if you beat it, I would like to know what you think. Yes. So this coming Monday, I don't know the time yet, I would consider myself the biggest Indiana Jones fan in the world. Victor Lucas would consider himself the biggest Indiana Jones fan in the world. He loves the game. It's his game of the year. It may be my game of the year. I don't think it's the best game, but again, what does that really mean? But anyway, Victor and I will be doing a live chat Monday. Everybody can watch. It'll be members only react. So if you want to call in and talk to Victor or send messages, you can do it. And we will be doing deep diving into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming this Monday. I'll get you more details in a couple of days because we just kind of set it up today. Okay, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. Last Stand Media should do an indie Sacred Symbols and have you on with Maddie. You know, I got to be honest with you guys. Now, I say this, and I haven't reached out, and it's probably the adult responsible thing. But I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be on Sacred much more or Last Stand Media much more, only because I know, you know, I was on there for a political show about post-election, and I think I kind of held it together pretty good. I said some things, but I wasn't, you know, and most people were like, hey, Jaffe, you were the most calm I've seen you on a political podcast or whatever. But I'm kind of the impression, because I was going to be on one, and then they kind of moved it around, and there were good reasons for it, but I've never gone this long without them calling and saying, hey, Jaffe, let's do something. And I think what it is, I probably, you know, their audience, there's enough people in their audience that probably have said, and this is all me speculating, I don't know if this is true. I consider Colin a great friend. I'm a huge fan of him, what he does. But I get the sense maybe that there were people canceling their memberships or saying, we don't want to watch shows with Jaffe. And so I'm going to walk away. And that's totally fine. Because I get it. He has to serve his audience. And I would imagine more of his audience, at least based on the comments, are people that would take my take on things as not delightful. And Colin said, yeah, but you know, I'll come on your show. I want to do stuff with you. No, it's not 1 Minute Gamer. I was hesitant to bring it up because I knew people would think that. And number one is I don't even think that's the case. I can be very sensitive at times. But Ryan said, not Ryan, 1 Minute Gamer says, if that's true, then Colin is not who he says he is. I don't agree with that at all. Colin is a good business person and he's running a business. And it doesn't mean Colin and I still aren't friends. And it doesn't mean he didn't offer, hey, Jaffe, I would love to come on your show. And he will. I'm thinking about starting like a video game book club and having him as the first guest with a game that he wants to play. If he's interested, and I think he will be. And we've talked since, but I just think as a business person, you know, if you are serving a bunch of people that find one of your frequent contributors challenging enough that they don't want to be customers anymore, I don't think that is Colin not being who he says he is. I think Colin's like, no, I'm doing business, but that doesn't mean we can't hang out or be friends. But again, I'm simply assuming that, and I'm super sensitive sometimes about things like this. So, yeah. So Johnny Graphic says Colin did mention that they lost a bunch of members because of you. Yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it. And I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised because I'm so not their typical group, but it's not it's not the same reason Greg Miller and Colin had a falling out. I haven't had a falling out with Colin. I'm a huge fan of Colin. I still listen to his work and his teammates' work. I just feel that, you know, I'm probably not good for his brand right now. Doesn't bother me. I mean, I've always enjoyed going on there, but, you know, it'll be what it is. Yeah, Colin Farrell, absolutely. Okay. That feels like the opposite of what Colin has mentioned before about business not taking ideological sides. Yeah, but end of the day, though, if you're losing a meaningful number of subscribers because of your actions and you can correct those actions, I'd do the same thing. I don't have a problem with that. Ant the Gamer, thank you. He says, listen to Jaffe when he says what he says. It's like some of you aren't listening. Yeah, it drives me batshit. Okay. Oh, that's terrible, Joe. Joe says, did you tell Colin Greg Miller's son looks like him? Oh, you're going to hell. Okay. Oh, well, that's nice, ALD. I appreciate that, and I'm sure they appreciate that. He says, I bumped my membership up on Last Stand Media because of contributors like you. Yeah, and I don't think Colin had a problem with it, and I don't have a problem with it. I really like going on those shows, and I hope to be on them again in the future. I just think that, you know, right now it may not be the best time. Not a problem. I get it. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk the video games. Did I see Tech Protect in here? Hello, Tech Protect. He fired one guy who was co-host on their Xbox show because Patreon bitched so much. Well, there you go. You got, you know, you start serving mayonnaise on your French fries at McDonald's and people stop buying them. You don't stop serving mayonnaise. I got no issues with it. Okay, I didn't do that, but I heard about the CR3D creating havoc over there. Come on now. Okay. TGI says, Jaffe, with free creative reign, how much would you need to form from a budget to go back in the industry and make a AAA? Well, everything I can answer except AAA, right? Because AAA, you know, you're not going to get free creative reign, and I wouldn't expect it or demand it at a AAA level. And I don't really want to make a AAA game. But if somebody said, hey, Jaffe, you want to come make one of these horror games you want to make? You know, probably $1 to $3 million is what I would need. And I would be, I'd love to do it. Hello, awesome. Okay. People hating on you on Last Stand Media is a political thing, not a quality thing. Yeah. I think, yes, absolutely. I don't think Colin or any of those people are acting as if it's, you know, a quality thing. I think, you know, I'm very happy with the work I do when they ask me to come on the shows. But, you know, it's not always about that. So, okay, let us move forward. I do want to get to some super chats from members that I missed the other day, and I apologize. The first one's from PG. He says, he's been a member for 7 months. Thank you, buddy. He says, these women won't shut up. He's quoting me, Jaffe playing Hellblade 2. Please make it a soundbite. If I can find it, I will. What I meant was when you're playing Hellblade, the main character has all these voices in her head, and there are all these women, like almost like the three witches in Clash of the Titans that are constantly bickering back and forth, but it's all happening in her head. And it's just kind of like, shut the fuck up is what I was commenting on. Not that I want women to shut up. Legends, thank you, buddy. 42 months, Cult of Calypso. He says, hey, Jaffe, what do you think about Naughty Dog doing a sci-fi game while Corey is also working on a sci-fi video game? Well, first off, a couple things. I don't know what Corey's working on. Honestly, I have no idea what he's working on. I heard the rumors it was a sci-fi game, and I would like to... all right, Anthony, good to see you, bud. And I would like to imagine that I would like to imagine that Sony isn't going to make the Days Gone Last of Us mistake or the Christmas season when they put out Ratchet, Sly Cooper, and what was the other one? Was it Jack and Daxter or something? They put out 3 platformers all within 2 months of each other. So I'd like to think at some point they're like, yeah, we want you to make what you want to make, Corey, within reason, but we've got 2, at the time, Concord, we've got 2 sci-fi games already. So unless he's doing something that's more Blade Runner or something, which I could see, I imagine he's not doing a sci-fi game. But you never know with Sony. They might just be like, yeah, do what you want. I have no clue. Thanato says, Jaffe, hold up. Wasn't there a game you advised me that had a witch where you were in the woods and there was an umbilical cord you had to follow? Yeah, it's called Witch in the Woods. I have a design document for members. It's actually up on the channel. I might release it to everybody in the future. But yeah, that wouldn't be the game I wanted to make next, but there's like 4 horror games I spent time designing. One is Witch in the Woods. One is this thing called Drone. And then 2 I haven't really talked about, but I would very much love to work on all of them, but one of them specifically. Prince, why is your head hurt? Jaffe, did you know that your show is crossing with Colt and Mag Show X? I don't know what that means. Crossing? You mean they're on at the same times? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, there's Gina. Hello, Gina. What's up, buddy? Okay. Thank you, Thanatos. Okay, let's move forward though. But yeah, Legends, I don't know. I mean, that's what I would assume. You can ask me anything, but it's got to be interesting if I'm going to read it. It's not that it's not a drone setting in New Jersey. No. Oh, I'm sorry you had a bad day. I'm sorry you're depressed. Well, hopefully if you hang out with us, we can at least take your mind off it. And worst case, you can, exercise. I'm going to give you advice, but I'm sure you've come up with plans in your life that when you feel bad, you can get out of it if you want to, or when you're ready to. Okay. Let's move forward, shall we? Listen to this. Let me play you this clip from Alana Pierce. Then I want to talk about. This was weird, man. This is Alana talking about her experience. You may have seen this. This is a real short clip, but she was talking about her experience watching the Black Myth Wukong team when Astro Bot won Game of the Year. Let me pop this up real quick.
And I was in the front row this year. It was my first time being in the front row. I was like, wow, thanks, Jeff. Great seats. But being in the front row means that you can see all of the actually important people. So, like, next to me was the whole Sony team. Frankly, that's probably why they put me there, was because when they gave me the seat, I was with Sony. So I was with the Sony publishing team. Behind me was Joseph Faris. Just behind him was Sam Lake, both of whom I know and am very fond of. They're both really great dudes. But I could see all of the nominees and awards winners, and the Black Myth Wukong team, I don't know which person on the team, was crying when Astro Bot got Game of the Year, because you could see him just looking down the line, which is the first time I've ever seen anything like that, because generally everyone is like, Game Awards doesn't matter that much, but yeah, the Wukong team were crying when they did not win, which was definitely unusual. Clearly meant a lot to them. They did an amazing thing. But I did find that surprising. Like, whoa. Did it look like celebratory crying? No. They were upset. Definitely upset that they didn't win. Which is also fair. But it was still just surprising is really all I'm saying.
Okay, so what's interesting about that, turn up the volume on Alana. Do I need to play that again, or could you guys hear that? Was it too quiet? Should I play it again, or are you guys good? But the gist of it was she was saying that the Wukong guy was crying at the awards, and she didn't they didn't get to hear it. Okay, it was pretty quiet. I'll play it again for you. Here you go. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can make this better. I don't know why these audio clips are coming in so low. Let's try one. It's only a minute long. Let's try one more time.
And I was in the front row this year.
Okay, hang on. Sound settings. Let's try this. That's gonna be loud. What do you think?
And I was in the front row this year. It was my first time being in the front row.
Is that better?
I was like, wow, thanks, Jeff. Great seats. But being in the front row means that you can see all of the actually important people. So, like, next to me was the whole Sony team. Frankly, that's probably why they put me there, was because when they gave me the seat, I was with Sony. So I was with the Sony publishing team. Behind me was Joseph Faris. Just behind him was Sam Lake, both of whom I know and am very fond of. They're both really great dudes. But I could see all of the nominees and awards winners, and the Black Myth Wukong team, I don't know which person on the team, was crying when Astro Bot got Game of the Year, because you could see him just looking down the line, which is the first time I've ever seen anything like that, because generally everyone is like, Game Awards doesn't matter that much, but yeah, the Wukong team were crying when they did not win, which was definitely unusual. Clearly meant a lot to them. They did an amazing thing. But I did find that surprising. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Did it look like celebratory crying? No. They were upset. Definitely upset that they didn't win. Which is also fair. But it was still just surprising, is really all I'm saying.
So, okay. So what's, and then again, there's an article on this, Black Myth Wukong producer on the Game Awards says, quote, I came all the way here for nothing. They won 2 awards. The games nominated this year, he said, Game Science CEO Feng Ji, I believe, were exceptional, but honestly, I still can't figure out what the criteria was for Game of the Year. Yeah, if you're looking at the nominations and the definitions of the nominations of any of these awards, certainly the Game Awards, and think there is a path to comprehension, which if you do these things, you will get the Game of the Year. Yeah, that doesn't exist. None of these awards make any fucking sense, but whatever. But he thought there was a criteria. I feel like I came all the way here for nothing, he wrote in a post that was translated on Reddit. Since last night, I've seen a lot of strong dissatisfaction and frustration in players' comments, often expressed humorously or ironically, which made me laugh, he continues. I completely understand these feelings and share the frustration. He says he actually wrote his Game of the Year acceptance speech 2 years ago, only to never get the chance to deliver it. It's unclear how much he's joking. And maybe some of this was lost in translation. But clearly, if you look at Alana's thing that we just played, they were actually not happy. And at least Alana's take on it wasn't joking or it wasn't happy cry. They were absolutely upset. Now, I want to be clear on something about this, because it's Darth Nugget, people are giving him some shit in the chat, but he's not wrong. He says, Western studios publishers not giving bonuses for not hitting a certain Metascore. Imagine in China what they do for not winning Game of the Year. There is some evidence of that, especially when you're talking about something that was so clearly culturally important for the Chinese government and for the people of China. People talk about what a big hit this was, and a lot of these people who are like, Wukong was fucking huge. Yeah, it was huge in China. It was huge where it sold out of 20 million copies sold, 16 of them or 15 of them were done in China. People were given by the government days off from their jobs to stay home and play Black Myth Wukong. It was a big deal. It was a big feather in the cap for development and the government and blah, blah, blah. But, all you have to do is look at like Olympics. This is, in countries like China, athletes can face significant public criticism and sometimes even official repercussions for not winning gold medals. If you look at the gold medal losers winners recently, Chinese sports commentator from this last Olympics, 2024, Shi Minjin said athletes are under huge pressure at the Olympics, where gold medals are typically seen only as the only desirable outcome. China views Olympic medals as reflecting on the glory of the entire country. So they have pretty strong feelings about this, he told RFA Mandarin in an interview on Monday. If you win a silver medal in France, nobody will say you let the side down. It's not that same kind of atmosphere in China. And again, I don't think these people are going to get executed, maybe North Korea, but I don't think they're going to, but it's a sense of shame and bringing shame to the country. And, you know, maybe that had to have played a part, whether or not the government gave a shit or not. I think that is, you know, there's a shame culture. I mean, every culture has shame culture. It's just very, very different. America's is more under the surface. I think China's is much more laid bare before your fucking eyes. I mean, Asian people in general, what I found, married to a half Asian lady and her whole side of the family, her mom's side was all Asian. I mean, they'll just look at you and say, man, you're fat. I mean, and it's not meant to be anything other than, yeah, I'm judging you negatively. Yeah, you're fucking fat. And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, you lost your job? What's the matter with you? Stupid? I mean, I'm not saying they're mean. They're wonderful people. But it's just a cultural difference that I personally experienced. And I imagine this is like that times 1,000. So, you know, we'll see. They're very straightforward, says 1 minute. Right. By the way, coming up in just about 10, 15 minutes, we're going to talk a little bit more about Intergalactic and some new news. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but there's definitely some new news on Intergalactic coming up at the hour point of the show. So stick around if you're interested in that sort of malarkey. I'm every day, and I get more excited about this game. I know a lot of you guys don't like it. That's fine, but I'm excited. I want to talk about some of this new stuff. Listen to this. Jay Styles, thank you, buddy. Member for 12 months at the Diet Soda Soldiers. He says, hey, I branched over to the Diet Soda Soldiers when I saw you working with Last Stand Media. 12 months strong. Thank you, buddy. Wait, do you mean you left Last Stand Media and came here? Or I don't understand. But still, regardless, thank you, Jay. It's always good to have you here. Always good to talk to you. But yeah, so who knows? Who knows what'll, you know, maybe those developers are dead now. Yeah, I don't know. But I think it was a great game. I certainly don't think it was game of the year. I know a lot of people do, and that's great. But again, it's not a real thing. It doesn't matter. It's just subjective. Look, we won game of the year all up and down the various media for the most part in 2005, but everybody knows that Resident Evil 4, which came out the same year, had as much, probably more of an impact than the first God of War did. And a lot of it was just Capcom didn't submit their game to various award ceremonies. So we got lucky because we probably would have lost to those guys. No, when they said you're fat, did you say, yeah, but you're ugly? I said, no. Hey, but there's some railroads over there that aren't finished. Could you get back to work? Come on now. Actually, that's the Chinese, not the Japanese. I didn't marry a half Chinese lady. The point is, stop being mean to people. I'm just, you know. Okay. Jaffe, I'd be excited for that new Naughty Dog game if I actually came to PC one day. I'm sure it will. Have platforms been confirmed? How they still segregate PC gamers at launch? Well, Helldivers is multiplayer, so it's very, very different. But no, Sony has made it very clear. Sony's Hiroki Totoki a couple of weeks ago literally said, we have not experienced any sort of, financial ramifications for people coming to our platform via PC. It's not like we lost console sales. So, I happen to think, we'll talk about Xbox in a little bit. I happen to think Xbox's moves are probably going to get more people to just buy PC. And I don't know if that is going to be good or bad for Sony's hardware, but we'll see. And let's just be clear. I mean, again, was that a racial joke about the railroads? Absolutely. What Americans did to the Chinese people with the railroads was awful. I know that. You know that. If you don't, you should know that. But it was a joke. Sorry. I mean, I don't know what to tell you about that. The older I get, the less I care. Some things are just funny. I heard Sean Gillis making jokes. That's his name. And, they're absolutely tasteless. But it's clear, there's a real balance, I think, between telling a joke that, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't want to be mean to people because that was a terrible thing. But at the same time, sometimes it's funny to make fun of terrible things because they were terrible. Anyway, shut up. All right. Shane Gillis, I don't know what his fucking name is. I really don't. The SNL guy who got fired before he even went on air. Jaffe, if people like you can't talk about how rigged the Game Awards are, they will never improve. Well, people like me can, and I did. I don't think the Game Awards are rigged, by the way. I just think all awards are stupid, right? So, they're rigged in the sense that, whatever. They don't really matter. Okay. Balatro's creator hits out at EA Sports, the soccer game, as the roguelike gets an 18. So here's what happened. This great game, nominated for Game of the Year, one indie game, excellent game. If you haven't played it, it's on everything. You should. I don't think it's on console yet, but I think it should be, will be. But anyway, they're releasing it in the UK and Peggy 18. They got that guy. Peggy got a Peggy 18. And he's like, why? And they're like, well, you have gambling paraphernalia in your game. And he's like, I have playing cards in my game. And it builds on some rule sets of poker. But that's not gambling. There's no gambling in this game. And he's like, fuck it. If you're going to give me a fucking 18, which is going to, hurt his sales. Well, fuck it. I'll just put in some loot boxes and microtransactions and all and real gambling. And he said, I'll do it to lower the rating. And he was referring to the EA Sports FC, whatever. I don't know what FC stands for, but soccer over there. Their new thing they call FIFA. And he's like, that's a game that's rated for 3-year-olds and up. And they have loot boxes and microtransactions. And they get a 3, and we have none of that. We just have the presentational aspect of certain accoutrement that exist where some people gamble. And that's enough. It's a really dumb position for these Peggy guys to take. I'd like to think that they're going to reverse it when they realize how dumb this is. But, I don't know. But what I will say, though, is that, I'd like to think that with... ESRB needs a rework, says Gabriel. I don't disagree. There was a time when comic books had the Comic Code Authority, and then Marvel was the first, I believe, to walk away from it. And they said, you know what, we're good. We don't need to pay you guys every month or every year or whatever. We don't need to sort of put any effort into making sure that we are acceptable to you. We will police ourselves. If there are books we put out there that we feel are not appropriate for all ages, we will label them in kind. Thank you very much for your service. And then DC followed, and pretty much all the other comics got there as well. I think video games, if they can be responsible enough, I would love to see that happen too, because I think things like this are ridiculous. If you play Balatro and you really think that this is a game that should be 18 plus, you're fucking a moron. You could be fucking a moron. I don't know who you're fucking, but you are a fucking moron as well. If you think this is a game that needs to be prohibited for kids to play. What are you talking about? I'd love my kids if this probably helps with math and strategic planning. I mean, it's not like it's a really good, interesting, deep strategic fucking video game, man. I highly recommend it. What exactly is the ESRB doing causing problems? Well, just the very fact that they exist and you have to pay them, and they are able to affect creative content in a video game where the only reason they were ever allowed to get a foot in the door is because the industry was worried the government was going to do it. But this was back in the days of Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis and all that shit. Now games are so big, and most people who are in Congress play games, whether it is just Candy Crush or it's like AOC is playing fucking Fortnite and shit. I would say that at this point there can be an argument made, hey, we got this. We're doing our own ratings on a company by basis or a store basis or whatever. Okay. Is that how movies work? No, there is still a Motion Picture Association of America, and it's not always fair. It doesn't always make sense. And I think we are slowly getting to the point where that will be phased out as well, especially with more things coming home streaming faster. A lot of times people confuse it and they think it's a legal thing. And they think it's like, oh, well, you can't go to an R-rated movie if you're under 18. It's against the law. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. But we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to read this comment real quick. Where did it go? Would I bring Jeff back on my show, says Ryan. I enjoyed the interview. I'll have Jeff anytime he wants. He's a super busy guy. But yeah, I love talking to Jeff. Absolutely. Right now, here are the people I've reached out to. I reached out to Alana Pierce now that she's left Sony, and she said, yes, I want to come on. I can do it next year, beginning of next year. I told her I'm not going to ask her about Sony stuff or her new voice acting job in Dispatch. It's going to be more of a high level conversation about the industry and sort of was it everything she thought it was going to be, and what she learned from working at a big company that now she wants to take. It's going to be more of a philosophical discussion on the medium and the art form and her experience. And then, like I said, I'm doing the chat with Victor Lucas on Monday. And then I reached out today. I don't know if I will hear back from him or I expect to hear back. I don't know him. I've had a couple quick conversations with him in the past on DMs. But I reached out to Evil Lore, the guy who founded and runs NeoGAF. And I think that would be a fascinating conversation. I have issues with NeoGAF, and I'm sure I know a lot of NeoGAF has issues with me. But I think talking to someone that really kind of is running a pretty influential part of the internet when it comes to video games, I'm curious. So that's who I've got feelers out to right now. So I'll let you know when I hear the specifics. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. We already read that one. That's the Black Myth Wukong guy. Okay, look at this. This is one of my favorite. Shut up, Bukaki. It wasn't racist. It probably was racist, the story about the railroads. It wasn't meant to be mean, though. I don't know. How do you know when it's okay? I'm a kid of the 80s, and it's like, I get it. I get the fact that I'm not the guy to tell you if making a joke about the Chinese folks when it comes to the railroads, it's probably not my place to say it's acceptable. I know it's legally acceptable. But there is probably a sense of like, yeah, but it's, I don't know. I vacillate. I really, really, really vacillate on these things. So who knows? Okay. Let's move forward. This is one of my favorite things that happens on the internet related to video games. Every year the companies do holiday cards, and I loved it when I had companies and I got to make them for our companies. And I just want to go through these with you real quick, and if you guys start getting bored and you don't want to look at them, just let me know. But I want to bring these up and kind of share them because I think they're cool, man. I love this shit. Hang on. Oh, I want to go way up here. I just love it. Maybe I'll just do a separate stream. Should I do a separate stream and people who are into this, we just go through this late at night? Or do you like it being part of this show? Let me give you a poll. Let me put up a poll right now. Okay. Should I look at the cards in a standalone review stream on this stream? All right, I'll give you a few minutes to vote. But there's the poll. Should be there now. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, I'll move to the next story while we're waiting. Listen to this. Okay. This is coming from, I believe, Jez Corden, who I've talked to a few times. Good dude. I think I've been on streams with him before. He says Xbox, and he writes for Windows Central. He says Xbox is not going to have exclusives going forward. Everything is timed exclusive at most, including Fable. So, I mean, this is really strange, and this is really interesting to me because, I mean, first off, they've got an amazing year coming up next year, assuming these all hit. But even if 4 of them hit, it's still amazing. I mean, Outer Worlds 2 was great if you loved the first one. It wasn't for me. Very excited for Avowed. Very excited for Midnight. Very excited for Doom. Fable, I need to see more, but I'm, sure. But what interests me about this is what are they really moving towards when it comes to what does it mean to have Xbox first party? Are they just going to be a third party publisher and position themselves for cloud and Game Pass? And are they going to somehow make a deal with Sony to put Game Pass on there? There is a handheld, and this was leaked this morning, it says it's being positioned, and this is just on Reddit, who knows if it's true, but it says it's being positioned more in the sort of vector that the Steam Deck is in, with Windows gaming PC desktop app over being an extension of the Xbox hardware ecosystem. What it means is imagine it is a handheld Windows PC with a wrapper of the PC Microsoft gaming app for gamers to basically buy Xbox games and use Game Pass on. And then obviously it would hook up to a monitor or a TV, I assume. High-end thing like the Steam Deck, and then everyone else can play Game Pass either in the cloud or on maybe if they bring it to PlayStation. I have no idea. But it is very strange to me that, you know, there's still this talk about new hardware. I'm just kind of like, why? I mean, it's kind of over. If you're going to start bringing, I mean, and I think they are ahead of the curve, and I know a bunch of Sony fan folks are going to think they're not, and that's fine. But I think, you know, you guys know, I think consoles are all going away eventually in the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And more people, hell, Jezebeli's now doing cloud gaming on GeForce Now. Let her speak to it for you. It's wonderful, she says. She sings its praises like I do. But even before that, though, I think they'll have this. I think they'll be on the Steam Deck. They'll be everywhere. And that's ultimately where it's all going to go. The idea, you guys are going to look back and say the idea of it's like, I couldn't run this game on this machine is going to feel so old and antiquated to you. But I guess they're just going to go third party. The real question is if you don't end up with Game Pass that you can cloud stream or have a PC, you're going to end up with PlayStation, and you're going to miss out on a bunch of things unless they do bring it all to PlayStation, which totally makes sense. It absolutely makes total sense, which is you want to play Indiana Jones, play it here, play it in the cloud, play it on PlayStation. Eventually, though, consoles are dead, and we're positioning ourselves to be in that ecosystem. Not to say Sony isn't either with PS Plus and their game streaming and whatnot, and they are clearly trying to ramp up a handheld or an extension of the Portal, and they're clearly trying to ramp up some kind of PC system or PC launcher, which is why they're asking for everybody's emails and all that shit when you buy a game on Steam from them. But yeah, I don't think... I think Xbox is just going, okay, well, this we know we can do well, and this is the future anyway. So we'll see. We'll totally see. But I thought that was interesting and exciting and good for everybody now. I mean, you know, everybody's, especially if Switch 2 comes out soon, which I'm sure it will, everyone's going to get to play these games. That's pretty neat. You know, and hopefully there'll be less anger over something like South of Midnight. The fact that people are already complaining about South of Midnight, I can't get my fucking head around it. It's like, it may not be the best game in the world in terms of moment-to-moment fighting. It looks solid, but it looks really cool. It looks really fucking cool. If Sony becomes full third party, they're instantly one of the best companies in that space. I don't agree with that, Brad. I think Sony at that point struggle a bit because they make some of the best cinematic action games, but a lot of other people have other things filled out. I think they make better games at a quality level than Microsoft first party for the most part, but Microsoft first party has a much more varied group of games and a bigger group of games because they bought it. I'm not saying they're smarter than Neil Druckmann, Cory Barlog, Shu, Scott Rhodey, whatever, but they bought a bunch of stuff. Yeah, they have the most variety. Right. Cross-platform gaming was the first step to everyone. Yeah, it's going to be nuts. I mean, you know, it's going to change so much, and you're going to look back when you're my age and tell kids your age now or whatever your age is and go, it was not like this. It'll just be like, I want to play this game. Boop, I'm playing this game. That's it. It's pretty cool. Okay. How do you not get why they are angry, said Ravenos. I don't understand who. Ravenos says, fuck handhelds. My understanding is just like the Switch. This is a handheld, but it's also something you're going to be able to plug into your TV or dock like the Switch. So what's the problem? Seems to me like you're going to get the best of both worlds there. Okay. Rumored that Lego Horizon may come to Xbox too. I heard that as well. Okay, so 60% want to see the Christmas cards. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait. I'm going to make that a separate stream. I think that'll just be people tune in if you just want to sit there, and there'll be some more cards coming. So maybe we'll make that part of what we do for the actual Christmas Day or Christmas Eve stream is what I'll do. So I am going to I'm going to save it for that. It'll dock. Ravno says I'm fine if it docks. Oh, it'll dock. It'll have to. How could it not dock? That's the industry standard at this point. Okay. Let us move forward then and talk about a couple things. The Witcher 4 might really look like it does in the RPG's new cinematic trailer. I don't know about that, but the developers say it targets the look that, or it represents a look that we are targeting. So that'd be cool. That'd be cool. It wouldn't surprise me. And then they say the Witcher series has been recast. We believe she truly brought the series to life in a way that is both faithful to the character and exciting for fans. So if you were expecting the actress, Jo Wyatt, who played her in the original game, it's no longer her. Ciara Berkeley was cast for part 4, at least for the reveal trailer. She's a talented actress, enthusiasm, vocal skills. And in the trailer, we believe she truly brought the character to life. I know some people were upset about it. I don't think I'm not really allowed to have much of a dog in the fight when it comes to, am I upset about The Witcher? Because I don't know enough about the lore and the story. To me, it's like Dragon Age. I'm excited to play it. I'm curious about it. I like the first season of the show. So I've played a little bit of 3 and it was cool. But I don't, some people are like, but it's against the lore. They can't be female Witchers, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know anything about that. So Frank says Witcher 4 broke away from the lore in order to make Ciri the main character. According to lore, she could never be a Witcher. That's why people are upset. And again, if that's the case, then sure. I wouldn't be upset about it. Mediums change content and lore all the time if you go from a movie to a game to a book. But if you're real hardcore and serious about it, I could see people being upset. But I have heard people say that it does fit within the lore. Like she did something about like the trial of vines or some such shit. I don't know. And in that, that allows her to be a Witcher, but whatever. But assuming that the people who say that, no, you cannot be a Witcher if you're a woman and you're really into the lore, okay, I can understand why that might bother you. But obviously a lot of people are upset just because, they want to, I don't know, I guess they want a face that's super hot. This was my favorite. Pick from the game on the left, fan made on the right. Higher fans. I don't know if you saw this, but it's like, are you shitting me? I think this woman looks real and normal and good. I think, she's blonde, so she's got a leg up for me. I think she's pretty. Is she the most attractive video game character ever? No, but, I'm not trying to fuck her. I want to go kill monsters with her. And then this person makes this, and I'm like, are you shitting me? You want her to look like this? I don't even know where to start. I don't even know. Oh, I've read Eric of Melbone, but that you're saying conceptually, Wayne B, right? What? She looks like she's had so much work done. She doesn't look real. She looks like oh God, no thank you. Again, nothing wrong with her, but to say that, and she doesn't even look like, what do you want out of your video games? This is supposed to be real graphics and a real take on what it means to be in this world. She's got a scar. She looks sweaty. She looks like she's fucking dealing with shit. And you want her to be this? What the fuck's the matter with you? Well, I get that it's a troll image, maybe, but I think they're playing around with the whole idea of what they did with Aloy, right? But then you also had somebody do this, which I liked. So sick of the bullshit woke ugly men in our games, so I improved it. Right? Look at this is my favorite. So there, it is true. And whatever, I get. I watched the Asmongold video. You have a lot more leeway with men because most men are straight and most men don't really care if the guy is ugly or normal or I don't fucking know. But then I like this. This was fantastic. Where they really, it's like, wow, that looks absolutely horrible. Yeah, he looks like an N64 Geralt. Absolutely. Absolutely. I did watch, though, and I did a video that went up late last night or early this morning from Asmongold. Someone in the Discord said, hey, Jaffe, can you respond to this? And I watched it. And, all I can tell you is it's really strange to me, but I'm not saying these people don't exist. It's so hard for me to relate to them. Where he was talking about, he said, and tell me if you think this is true, but he said that gender is a really difficult, I'm paraphrasing, barrier of entry when it comes to immersion. And if you're asking someone to play a gender that isn't the one they relate to or that they are, or however you phrase it, a lot of people will walk away from that and say, I don't want to play a game with the girl. Now, do I think those people don't deserve to have a seat at the table as customers? Of course not. Do I think that that is some real basic thinking that I judge from someone that may not be very self-reflective or know themselves really well? I do. And they probably think the same about me in other ways. But I just don't, I can't get my head around it. Like Wayne B says, it can be for me. I'd rather play as a man any day. And again, there is no wrong to that. It's just weird to my brain. And I'm the most progressive guy you know, so I understand the fact that just because it's weird to my brain doesn't mean it's wrong or it's bad. It just means that my brain can't fathom that, because when I play a video game, I'm just kind of in the world, man. I'm just like one of my favorite games of the year that most people haven't even heard of that will be on my top 10 list is this game, #Blood. And you play this girl that looks like she's straight out of Cartoon Network, and she's like in middle school, right? I don't relate to a middle school trailer or a middle school student in a trailer or a game. But boy, if this game isn't great, and I just fucking loved it. And so it's very strange to me. But again, just because it's strange doesn't mean it's not a valid take. I just don't quite get it. What is it about? It's kind of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets cartooning, and it's like an action RPG light. And so you play this girl, and her mom, we think, has died, and she's moved to this town with her dad, and she discovers that it's in her blood to sort of kill monsters. And it's about this big adventure that takes place, and there's this like Steve Jobs like character that has moved into the town, and he has started to kind of fuck with everybody and employ everybody, and the teenagers get a sense that he's actually evil. And it's excellent. It's just wonderful. And it didn't get great reviews when it came out, but within like a week they had released a patch, and that's the version I played. So I don't think most of the reviews have updated. I'm curious if the user score has, but there were a lot of collision bugs when they released it. #Blood Metacritic. Let's see if the user score is good or not. But I know that the normal score before the patch was it's got a terrible 5. Why would somebody give this a 5? I don't know, but it comes highly recommended from me. But let's see. I want to see one of these low reviews. The game, beautiful art style. The hit. Okay, see, this is one of the ones that was early, June 19th. The hit detection and hitboxes feel broken, right? So that's what I was seeing a lot of. And I think what ended up happening is there's only 4 reviews really, but a lot of people stayed away because when they launched it on day one, it was absolutely broken. And that's the reviews, and that's what a lot of people played. And that's really unfortunate. But anyway, I highly recommend it. I agree with Asmongold's takes as total package. I like to inject myself into the character. I don't always like playing as a girl. Every once in a while is okay, but every damn game lately has a female protagonist. I don't agree with your assessment of every damn game, but certainly maybe the ones you're interested in do. Absolutely. But it's an odd take to have, says Daywalker, when Asmon's game of the year was Black Myth Wukong. You mean because he can't relate to a monkey? Dissociative. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for God of War memories, knowing you from the original God of War. I wish Harbor City existed, but what can I say? The ambitious project can lead to limited deadlines. Absolutely. But thank you for playing our stuff, man. I appreciate it. Didn't you guys talk about the target audience when you were designing Kratos? Not really. In my mind, the only thing I knew was our audience would probably reject Clash of the Titans, Harry Hamlin. They would reject the traditional kind of dude who looked like this, who had the cloak and the sword and the shield and sandals. I was like, we can't do that. You know, we're in the world of Solid Snake and we're in the world of Doom, and there's no way your average gamer at the time that was like early 20s, late teens male is going to give a fuck about this dude. And that's why it took us a very, very long time to arrive at something that still felt like it fit in the period, but was also, you know, something that we felt could actually carry a franchise. So that was very much a goal we were chasing, 100%. Okay. Ravno says, okay, but if you can't relate to a character, then just don't buy them and also don't attack the game on socials. How hard is it to not cry and whine about a game you don't want to play? I mean, that I do think is disappointing, but I mean, I get it. I absolutely get it, right? So let's take this. Critically says, so you used to understand you have to cater to a young male audience. It's like somebody earlier in the chat said, it's like, why don't you listen when I speak? Do you do this with everyone else? I have never been the kind of guy that thinks that if you are spending a lot of money, you have to adapt your art to make your money back. And so if I want to make a video game that is a accurate depiction of a diary, or if I want to make this, it sounds terrible, but if I want to make the video game version of Diary of Anne Frank, I think, let's say you have a really good angle. Cool. But I've never been one of these guys that says, run off now and get pissed if you don't get to spend 80 million, 400 million on it. If you want to raise some money and make it for $2 million, cool. If you're at a studio that wants to also make games that are prestige games and blah, blah, blah. But I've never not understood the audience, even to the point that somebody was coming at me last night. I mean, that's one of the most frustrating things is people think that, I don't know where they get this from. They're like, well, you used to be. I'm like, dude, the last game I put out, like I tweeted it last night, literally had a mechanic where you could put a monkey on your back, feed him a banana in real time, and then he would shit it out. And the longer you charged the shit, the more chances you would have of having a powerful shit that had homing. I had a woman with huge tits mixed with a shark that was one of the playable characters. I had a frog that was an alcoholic, and he was constantly talking about his obsession with masturbating, and he hated the player. So, 100% read your audience if you're trying to make money for somebody back. But there's no doubt in that. But end of the day, there are times where someone like Neil Druckmann can get to do what he wants. If I was working at Sony and I was overseeing that game, I would say, unless Neil is like, look, I get it. There's no way I'm not going to spend this kind of money and make a character, especially in what clearly is not like an art piece like Last of Us. This is hopefully a rip-roaring kind of adventure game that has a little bit of pathos. Maybe he's like, dude, I got it. Let's launch this as is. We know it'll create some controversy. But clearly here's what happens, right? This part in the trailer is either a funny part of the story or something happened in the narrative, or it's just, we actually do have a character customizer, or the better you do, the more her hair grows. I don't fucking know, but I would certainly say, if not that, I don't want us to do this character. Not because there's anything wrong with her, but because you do need to go, hey, you're spending $400 million to make this fucking game, if Sean Layden's to be believed. And so, I agree with you. Some people that don't think like we think we might have disdain for them, but their money still spends, and it's a business, and you should be talented enough to be able to build your own art satisfaction that gives the game a sense of heft and meaning, while also making a commercial product, because every other commercial artist in the world is asked to do the same thing. That's what I would say. So, no, I don't think common sense has been lost in many AAA developers. I think you've got a bunch of studio executives that got scared, as they should have, after 2020, going, wait a minute, you mean we're a terrible group of people. We sexually assault people. We don't hire diverse people because there are some people who are knowingly or not racist. The CEO probably fucked 20 people, at the Christmas party. Who knows? And they corrected as they should, but it came at the valuable thing that an oversight executive does, that it says, we can be better, we need to be better, we need to be more fair, we need to be more diverse, but we are also running a business. So we're not making sexist games. We're not going to make things that insult people just because they're not like the core audience, unless they're evil in the game. But we are business, and if we're spending this kind of money, we're making mainstream, it's the video game equivalent of corn syrup. It's for everybody, and maybe you can put some art in there. But if you really want to make art, we do games like that too. But you're not spending $400 million. That's what I think. And I think if you don't put guardrails up for your creatives, they are going to do exactly whatever the fuck they want, as they should, because they're creative. Who would not do that? I don't blame the developers. I blame the executives. I blame the executives that look at Dragon Age and didn't step in and say, wait a minute. First off, this is not Dragon Age that the audience has been sold. Now, if you want to make this, you can put it through the greenlight process, see if you can get a pitch for an original game, but this isn't that. I love Dragon Age Veilguard, one of my favorite games, but that's a different point. It's not relevant to what I'm saying. But to say that your art style feels goofy, your writing is a little kind of on the nose and young and not great. Not all of the writing. I thought there was some great plotting in that game. But in terms of character and dialogue, that's an executive's job to step in and say, wait a minute, what are you guys doing? And to say, you guys absolutely make this queer friendly. Make sure that it's at worst, it's not offensive. At best, if you want to, put in some of your views about the world and marble it into the art, great. But you're spending a lot of our money, which means you can't be so on the nose with it. This is just normal executiving when you're a good creative executive. And that's where I think the problem came from. It's not, developer. Hell, they let me do whatever the fuck I wanted on Drawn to Death. And it wasn't good. It was, I was proud of it, but none of us stopped to think. We had focus tests, but nobody ever pulled me aside and said, I love this angle. I love the energy, blah, 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 but you're probably going to be going a little too far here, and people aren't going to get it as sort of you're both making fun of this, but embracing it. And so you probably either need to dial it back or find a way to be more clear. And we got nailed for it. It's one of the reasons the review, not the only reason, not the main reason, but one of the reasons the reviews are so fucking low on that game. So George Lucas, the worst thing that ever happened to George Lucas was, he got so successful that nobody could tell him no. And that's the other thing. Snail X says, what did the focus test say about the shitting monkey? Exactly. We did that too. We did a bunch of focus tests. We were terrified of, is this actually funny? Is this actually good? We did focus tests in America, and everybody came back. We love the humor. We think the humor is great. Don't change it. Okay. Then we said, yeah, but we got to do well overseas. Let's do focus test over in the UK. We did that. They came back. No, the humor's great. So I would say again, you're an executive. You need to eat that shit sandwich, because whoever's running the focus group stuff at Sony, at least when it came to us, and I would say maybe the same with Concord. I wasn't offended by Concord. I thought the gameplay had some really well done stuff in it, but I think certainly the fact that those characters made it through that far and they spent that much money and nobody recognized these problems, I think that's a real problem. Whoever's running focus test at Sony, if it's the same group that did it, or the executives that oversaw it with Drawn to Death, maybe those are the people that need to be called into, to I guess who at this point, Herman's office, and go, what are you guys doing? Because you're letting us fucking down all the fucking time, is what I said. Imagine you were an exec and you intended to say to the team what you're telling us now. How do you think they would receive it? I don't care after they've run the asylum. No one runs the asylum. If you can almost, march Connie Booth out of Sony, if you can say goodbye, Sean Layden, after all these people have done, Jim Ryan, after all these people have done for this company, I assure you, no one's worried when it comes to saving money and making money about, oh no, what happens if we upset some of the people on the Sony Santa Monica team? So what? That's the job. That's the job. I don't agree with. I don't. CS. No. I don't. I'm not. I don't. I've talked about it ad nauseum. The whole ESG scores. I think unless you have some evidence to show me a company like Sony that is making those decisions, then I would say sure, show it to me. But all I hear is a bunch of people on the internet saying that's a thing. And I know ESG scores are a thing, but I've never seen any evidence that it's actually trickled down to the content of the individual video games. And more importantly, if it did, how would they up their ESG score if they totally acquiesce to woke culture, as you guys say, and at the same time then turn around and publish Stellar Blade? It seems like it would cancel out whatever goodwill they had earned. All right, let's move forward, shall we, my delightful friends? I want to talk about a little bit, though, about Intergalactic. Oh, first I'll talk about Intergalactic first. Hang on. PG, I'm talking about Christmas cards from video game developers. By the way, PG, I don't know if you saw it, but I read your super chat from the other day that I missed about the women won't shut up earlier in the show. So I'm sorry I missed it the other day, but I did want to make sure you knew that I did come back around to it. Okay. Let's look at this real quick first. Game Award trailers. YouTube likes, dislikes. I'm just kind of curious. People like the Elden Ring. There's no surprise there. Onimusha, they like that. No surprise there. Witcher 4. For the most part, the controversy is kind of not. It's a tempest in a teacup. If you go over to IGN, 216,000 liked it, 14,000 did not. Intergalactic is the one that's actually getting hammered. 22K liked it, 26K did not. 14K did not on IGN. PlayStation, 33K did not, 29 did. These aren't trouncing numbers. I think a lot of this is, look, let's put it this way. If I say something and one of these big YouTube anti-woke guys makes a video on it, I'll get like a fucking hornet's nest of little followers coming over and like, I'm going to support my master. Asmongold said this. Veridark said this. Achievement unlocked. I've simped for Veridark today. Whatever. So my guess is a lot of these downvotes are not really that meaningful. But, I frankly think Intergalactic looks pretty good. And then Borderlands, good review. Seriously, if you're going to upvote Borderlands 4, which didn't look bad, it just looked the same shit you played over and over and over and over, and you're not going to be interested in Intergalactic, I don't know what to tell you. Do you think most people clip thumbs up or thumbs down on trailers? It depends on the trailer, I assume. Why do they always have to sound like Black Jack? I don't know, because that's just the voice I do. That's the voice I do to represent the people that I think are idiots. So, but anyway, let's talk about this a little bit. Some new news on Intergalactic. I'm not going to spoil anything. All of this is stuff that Sony has put out. You may be aware that there was a leak on Reddit today that said they published the whole plot. I doubt it. Seriously, after The Last of Us 2 leak, I would be really surprised if Sony hasn't done a lot to bring up their protection of their content. And Wolverine and all that, those leaks, I don't think so. But who knows? But I'm not going to read it. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it. I want to experience it because I think it looks really cool. I like the influences behind it. I like that there's gunplay now and there is melee now. I think it really is going to be Vanquish style. I hope we're going to get some spaceship combat. I've heard people saying it's like Uncharted open world. Come on. How could you not be into that? That sounds fucking awesome. But anyway, here's what Druckmann came out and said. He says the story is quite ambitious as it centers on a fictitious religion and what happens when you put your faith in different institutions. Now, I'm all in on that, man. I hope the game is 80% rip-roaring high adventure, space adventure, maybe a little dark on some of the planets or whatever. I don't want another somber thing from Sony or from Naughty Dog, but the idea of this as its theme, like what happens when you put your faith in institutions, if 20% of it does kind of get down into that more philosophical and then it keeps coming back up to be a great adventure, that would be exciting and excellent. So I got to say, I mean, I did not love the trailer when I first saw it because as a trailer, I need to see new things. And it wasn't until I watched it one more time and said, okay, in context, as a new IP, as a story, do I want to go on this adventure from this team? That as much as I have issues with Neil Druckmann's work, I also like a lot of Neil Druckmann's work. But when he gets into the sort of the I'm depressed, everything's serious, I'm pretentious, I want to be an artist, I hate that shit. But I thought the episode of The Last of Us he directed was one of the best ones of the first season. I loved The Last of Us Part 2. And if this can somehow walk the line between a little bit of that, but more of a fun action adventure, because I don't want this to feel like Horizon. It feels like it's sniffing its own fucking farts. But no, I'm super into this. I'm super interested. Dissociative says, I couldn't wait for this game. It's been a while since I got a space game that vibes and plays. I don't care about girl bosses and shit. If context and direction are good, the game will be good. I agree. Oh, look at this. So Warped Eye says, I showed the trailer to my son. He's 21 and immediately he was excited and said it looks like cyberpunk in space. Right. And if you look at the opening in the trailer, the TV she has on, which is kind of like a riff on action anime. My guess is that, like I said in my video, my guess is that's going to be how that game plays, is you are going to get something more like Vanquish and lots of flips and slides and stylish moves and everything. But, you know, I'm reading between the lines. I could be wrong. Jaffe, if you don't think a Druckmann joint is going to sniff its own farts, you have forgotten how noses work. Well, again, I mean, look, I don't know Neil Druckmann. I have never met him in my life. But lately when he's come out and said, I mean, seriously, think about this. You've got to, now, is it true? I don't know, but I want you to think about this. You've got a guy that has made his name on cinematic action adventures, cut scenes, all of this stuff that is very much, not, you know, it's a great subgenre of video games, but it's not where the game art form thrives, in my opinion. And in the last couple of years, he said the new game is taking a lot from Software. It's taking a lot from the idea of giving players a lot more freedom. And I think that's cool. I think the idea of a Naughty Dog level narrative sitting on top of a From Software level, looking a lot better than From Software level piece of gameplay, I think that's neat. I think that's neat. And it also suggests to me a creative who's growing and allowing themselves not to be shackled to their past success and go, yeah, I get it. I'm good at those. We've made a lot of money at those. I'm going to try something new now. I mean, how can you not at least be interested at that point? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm with you on that, Ryan. He says only if it releases on PC day one. I mean, it probably won't. I don't know when it'll come out. But I will say I really only want to play games that are supposed to look great on PC streaming now. I'd love to think maybe, I mean, it won't. I was going to say maybe Sony could say, hey, if you have PS Plus Premium, you can stream it and you'll be streaming the PC version that we're not releasing into stores yet. But I don't know why they would do that. But I mean, you know, we'll see. Okay. I don't want this game to end like 2 directing on bad manners and bad actors. I want the game to feel enjoyable, whether I'm a fan of single... Whenever I'm not, I don't understand the shit of what you're saying. I agree with somebody in the chat though that said Star Wars Outlaws was a great space adventure. Yeah, fucking loved it. Fucking absolutely loved it. Ravenu says, I'm so amused at people angry a make-believe lady shaved her head. Well, what they will say to you though, and I get it. But what they will say to you though is it's not really that they're upset about. It's, you know, it's easy to beat them up on that, but what they're saying is it represents a kind of vibe that they're worried is going to be permeating throughout the experience. So it's not the fact that they really have a specific issue with a woman who shaved her head, but it's that if they're going to do that in their main character reveal, which is to say we are not going to go and run with the herd on what you want. We're not putting pretty people in this, or they can be pretty, but we're not putting people in this that are specifically designed to be in part appealing visual based on what we think is appealing in 2024. That philosophy, they're worried, is going to be marbled into the whole thing. And it might. And it you know, as much as I agree, by the way, with that progressive philosophy, I would also say that if it feels like there is a voice above it, and it's like I can't lose myself in the fantasy, not because I disagree with any of the choices, but because it feels like those choices are more important, and planting a flag of philosophy is more important than telling a really cool, cohesive story, then I would agree that they have a problem. But I don't think with this team that's what we're looking at. These are not the guys that made Dustborn. I think Neil knows enough. He seems self-aware enough and creative enough to look at the situation and go, this is a balance. You know, I've got to be able to find a way to express what I want to express, and I also need to go, this is a fucking expensive as fuck game, and it's got to play as a great adventure. You know, and I think anybody who works at Sony that hasn't learned that lesson didn't believe that before, and Neil probably did, certainly after Concord. There's no way. So no, there's not. I'm excited for this. I think this looks really fun and really cool. I didn't get this, though. This was interesting. Fran Mirabella, who I don't know, we follow each other. I know he was over at IGN, I think. He says, it's wild to me that gamers seriously think product placement is some insidious goal in the new Intergalactic trailer. How is it not totally cool to tell the audience we're culturally influenced by the 80s, 90s? We should do this. It was badass in Stranger Things. People are so cynical. I wouldn't be surprised if you'll be able to watch this anime in the game as well. So I do want to push back on this a little bit. I get what he's saying. And I'm a guy, even as far back as Twisted Metal 1. I mean, I've told the story recently. I mean, I wanted 7-Eleven branded buildings, and we almost got them. We built them, we textured them, and then legal's like, you can't do that. I said, but I got a letter from 7-Eleven, and they're like, yeah, it takes a little bit more than that. I'm like, okay. But, you know, we didn't know that at the time. But the point, we even filmed some of the live action cutscenes where Mike and Stu in the monster truck had big gulps, and I wanted the big gulps to be present, right? And it wasn't that I was, you know, I like movies when they feel grounded in your own backyard. And movies do that great. Video games are different, though, because unless you have that branding everywhere, it doesn't feel genuine, right? So if you look at like Death Stranding with the Monster Energy drink and the AMC motorcycle thing and all that shit, it's like, with Kojima, he gets a pass because it's clear, maybe you could argue it's ironic, it's meant to be a message or whatever. But if it was anything other than that, you'd go like in Jet Moto, we only could get Nestle, which gave us Butterfinger, Mountain Dew, and Nestle Crunch. And it didn't feel like, wow, this world is grounded. It felt like you could only make a deal with Nestle. So I forgive people that look at this and it's right in your face right away. And it doesn't, you know, I don't think it feels like, oh, it's grounded. I think it feels like, oh, Sony made this and forgive us for being cynical. But, you know, corporations have earned our cynicism. So I don't have a problem with the pushback. But I hope that they have enough of this branding that it really is, you know, it's like Demolition Man with Taco Bell. It's baked into the lore and the world building. And it feels more than just like a couple of, we wish we had more, but we couldn't afford more. Like when you play Spider-Man 2 and you swing through Times Square, I would have loved it if all the billboards and stuff, there was the Coke billboard and there was the Macy's billboard for Christmas, but they couldn't get all of that. I don't even think any of the billboards were real. So, you know, but in a movie, you're going to get all that. So that's what I would say. Let me go down here real quick. One moment. Yeah, Crazy Taxi has some great product placement. It does. It did help with the world. That's right. Instant Messenger Sama. That's weird. It comes out like that. But thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says the whole game got leaked and it's even worse than a lot of dudes thought. This might be my first Naughty Dog game, which you won't buy. Instant Messenger, if you're talking about the leak on Reddit, I mean, okay. I mean, first off, what kind of faith do you have that that is accurate and not just people trolling? It's not like it was hidden in the bushel of data from the hackers that released Wolverine, right? I mean, this was a game that's been in production since 2020. So And the hack happened, I believe, before 2020, the hack happened after 2020. So there was nothing in it about this game, or where did this come from? But yeah, if it turns out that it's really, really, really bad in terms of what people are worried about, then yeah, okay, well, then they haven't been able to deliver. But I don't plan on reading it. I'm sure I'll have no choice but to kind of stumble into it on the internet. But, you know. Intergalactic is not brought to us by Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney. Some of you are just weird, says Kenny. Not sure. I understand your reference, but I don't understand what you mean specifically as it relates to what we're talking about. I mean, I think if Bud Light was in it, that would be great too. I think they're going to need a lot of brands in order to make it feel real and not just like, oh, they got some brand deals, basically. Okay. I just want to bring this up. I struggle with this. There were two tweets recently that were about some of the tech in the trailer, and I'm assuming the trailer is real time. Otherwise, this is not that impressive. But the subsurface scattering on her thumbnail, meaning when she touches the red light and you see the red go through her bottom of her thumb out her nail, and there was another one that's since been released, deleted, where one of the art directors at Naughty Dog was tweeting how challenging it was to get the cloth sim and putting on the jacket and all this stuff in the trailer. And I remember watching it and going, or seeing these tweets and going, this is why games are so fucking expensive. Because none of this matters right now. I guess if you're Sony, I get it. If you're building your brand on the best visuals and other teams can use this and share it, it probably does make sense. They've probably built that into the cost. But I just want to point out, though, that is some of the stuff that if they haven't done that, and I'm sure they have, but the amount of time it takes to do something and to build that tech and to tune it and test it and integrate it, and the fact that it would have been easier, like if the part we're talking about is when she steps down the steps and she's about to go into the cockpit of the ship and she grabs her jacket with the horse, the chess horse on the back right here. They literally show her in her tank top and then they show her putting the jacket on. And in that, I mean, that's no easy thing, at least according to the people who did it. And I get it, but they could have easily just kind of, as she pushes past the camera with the woman with the patch, it could have been super fucking easy for them to hold on that for a moment. And then she starts to reach for the jacket, camera holds, still moving, but it doesn't, she's out of the shot for a moment. And then she's back in the shot and the jacket's complete coming on. She's finishing the motion. And you could have totally fucking cheated it. But maybe Sony's like I hope what's happening is Sony's like, we could do all that. We could save a lot of time and money, but they don't cut away from the jacket. I can show you. We could save a lot of time and money, but this stuff is going to yield dividends as it moves into the engine for other games. And in that case, okay, I get it. But no, it's actually Intergalactic. Let me show you. It's actually here's the trailer. Oh my God, really? Come on. Oh, there's the leak. Okay. Here's the trailer. I'll just show you this part. So here we go. Let's get her coming down. Okay, right here. Okay, so she starts to put it on and they cut away and it's already on, but I'm talking about this part that they were talking about in the tweet where she picks it up. Let's see if you can see it. Yeah, she picks it up and starts to put it on like right there. You can even kind of see where there's a pop. Like right there. See how it just kind of, like almost like a jump cut when the jacket moves? You don't have to show any of that. She could just have it there and then suddenly it's on, right? And I'm sure they do some of that, but they could have done more. I'm only saying that because if you look at the tweet, it sounds like a lot of effort was put into that to get that to happen. And, people writing this off already aren't actually interested in if it's going to be good. Oh, I agree. I'm Warrior God. I'm all in on this. I love sci-fi. I love the art style. I think the performances between the two characters are great. I think her jacket is awesome. I even last night, I'm out with the family. We're walking. I think here's what I got to tell you guys briefly. Since I started doing this stream, even though I've always been, I'm not like I'm an extrovert, but I'm when I don't mind talking to people, but since I started this stream, I've been doing it for so long. I just talk to any and everybody. I just don't care anymore. And I'm out last night. We go into this local toy store because we're going to go to the bookstore. It's closed. Doesn't matter. And there's this teenage girl and her friend, and I notice her, and she's got this jacket that's like this really cool. It looks like it doesn't have the logo on the back, but everything about it, oh, you can't see, everything about her jacket otherwise was this fucking jacket. And I went up to her at first, and I'm wearing a, t-shirt that's all old, and I'm like thinking I'm a homeless dude. I don't fucking know. And I'm like, excuse me, and you could tell at first, like, who is this creepy old guy? I'm just like, no, your jacket is so fucking awesome. And I didn't tell her it reminded me of the jacket in Intergalactic, but I was just like, she didn't know. She had this, I don't know how much it cost her. It was an awesome red leather jacket that looked just fucking like this. Not a Michael Jackson jacket. Dissociative says her jacket reminds me of the driver jacket. Fuck yeah. Yeah, K-Nub says I'm entering the realm of old man don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't care. Hello, Rob the Mod. Good to see you, buddy. I embraced the shit out of it. Yeah. I hope this game does well. No, I want Sony to do new IP. I've been wanting that for a long time. And you could argue they did it with Horizon. I think Horizon's rubbish. I don't like it. I like this. Okay. Shut up, Wayne B says, look, a red jacket. It was just cool, man. It was the only thing that could have made it cooler was the Cyberpunk 2077 jacket with those little circles that puff out of the fucking jacket, man. That would have made it a little bit cooler, but that's it. That's the Cloth Sim tweet right there. So, would you have went to the Olive Garden with Vera Darko? Jeez, Alex, shut the fuck up. Okay, hang on. The other thing that people have started to pick up on is this shot in Intergalactic. Keep calling it Interstellar. Cameron says Horizon's dope, Jaffe. Sometimes you have to finish games to appreciate them. Think about that. A game being so uninteresting that the only way it becomes interesting is if you have to put up with being uninterested. No, thank you. But I hear you. Okay. Now, I'm not a big Borderlands guy, Warrior. So people found a QR code in the trailer, and I don't know where it is. Apparently, it's in this frame. But if you scan it, it comes back with what is Planck constant. At least this user in this story says it has a number value of 6.62 xxxx times 10 to the negative 34th power. And apparently that is Planck's constant, I guess. I don't know. Not sure if it's a reach, but it's better than what I had, which is nothing. They said they're trying to guess what the number means. Planck's constant is a set value in quantum mechanics that helps you work out a photon's energy output. Photons are, photons are. So I don't know. I have no idea, but I will be very interested to see what that leads to. Is it a phone number? Let's see if it's a phone number. 662-606-0041. You have an extra, maybe you go backwards. It's a country code for, I don't know. Release date, 2000, could be, 26. I don't know. Good luck. Somebody figure it out. Let us know. I didn't bitch about Okami. I just didn't like Okami. It just was too slow for me. The opening was too slow. But yeah, I know a lot of people loved it. What I bitched about was this idea that Keeley was starting to cry when he was mentioning it. And it was this idea that, the whole world was dying for an Okami sequel. And I'm just like, I don't know about that. Rob says it's the Ligma barcode. Rob, what's the Ligma? What do you mean? What's the Ligma? I'll tell you something. You can thank me by liking the chat, sending me a super chat, subscribing, becoming a member. Well, why would we thank you, Jaffe? What's the point of thanking you? What have you done for us lately? Oh, right. What I've done for you lately is show you this delightful trailer. Here you go. I'll turn down my volume and I'll see you on the other side. It could be a piece of shit. And it's not the first game to play with this idea. Oh, Rob the Mod, you got me. You knucklehead. He said it's Ligma balls. You old knucklehead. How'd you do that? I'd love to get like a sex worker who's a gamer. Oh, well, that's true, actually. Check out this game, and then I'm going to talk about JoJo D on the flip side. Here we go. Look at this fucking thing. Whoa, look at that handsome young man. Check out this.
Nostalgia reignites cherished memories from our childhood, such as reminiscing about our favorite toys. Among all the exciting playthroughs, one question perpetually lingers. Who truly reigned as the strongest? Brace yourself, for the answer is about to unfold.
I'm going to pause it real quick while this beautiful, handsome Jaffe hangs out there. Look at him. Look at him. He's delightful. I mean, come on. Atara says, Dave, I think only older people will get this game. Fine with me. Oh, these aren't cartoons. These are action figures, and they're total generic. None of these are based on... They might be creatively based on brands, but all of these are original characters. It's not like you have to know who they are. I don't think these aren't... They basically look like He-Man characters, and they look like characters from Ninja Turtles, like Lockjaw. But no, that's absolutely not that. I love this. I don't know if it's going to be fun or how easy it's going to be or how technical it's going to be, but, you know, and I know there's the other game that's out right now that is the action figure shooter, but no, this is the shit, man. I'm excited for this. So that's why you have to thank me. But thank you, guys. By the way, I want to say to our buddies, Calpy97 has been a member for 23 months. I don't know why you guys can't be like your brother Calpy, but Calpy, thank you for supporting the show. He says, happy Donkey Kong December, Jaffe. Thank you, sir. And then, of course, Jojo D is pissing off his wife. He basically stole her pocketbook and her checkbook and her credit card. And he's locked himself in his man cave, and he's spending money like it's fucking water. Thank you, buddy. He provides everybody with a Christmas gift, another 5 memberships. Thanks, Joe. Seriously, very kind, man. Thank you. To the Diet Soda Soldiers. What that means is when we do movie night coming up and game night coming up, you will be able to get in on the fun and play and watch with us. And you also will be able to be part of the members-only chats that tend to happen later at night when I do them. And that's, you can only chat if you're a member. So, Jojo D, thank you. Here are the people that were beneficiaries. Ghetto God, Kenny Belazaire, Trev Tyler 70, Gabriel Lundez, and our very own Rob the Mod are now sitting pretty with a brand new membership for the holidays. Thank you, Joe. Seriously, it's very, very nice of you, man. Aish, shut the fuck up, or I will send you to Jojo D's house. You don't even know what billfold. It's just like a wallet. It's just what the old people said. I don't care if it's a flop game. Shut up. Who's making this flop game? Fuck you. Flop game. Leave people alone. You guys don't care about creativity. You just care about being pissed because your life is shit. That's what I would say. Oh, you do know what billfold means. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I would love this if it was more of a beat 'em up because I'm not a big fighting game guy, but if this was kind of like Turtles in Time or Streets Rage 4, I would be much more into it. But people seem to like it in the chat, so hopefully let's see what the reviews are. Where's that? So yeah, only 4 people don't like it. 2.3. Go over there and give it some love if you're interested. I mean, or don't, but I think it's great. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Why not contribute? Okay. What do we got here? Ish, I will fucking kill you, motherfucker. I'm going to save all that for tomorrow. There you go. Let me go to the chat, see what you guys want to talk about. But yeah, don't forget we got Lunch with Jaffe coming up Thursday. Tomorrow on the Jaffe stream in the morning, I'll be playing with you guys a new game Not a video game. It's called Not a Word. And the winner will get a free copy of this game sent to their home. It is a party game, and I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. That will be on the morning stream. There'll be other things we're talking about as well. But I want to let you know that if you're into party games, put your creative cap on. It's really cool. It's really interesting. My brother's not old that he's old, but my brother was in a fraternity. One of his fraternity brothers created this, and they sent me a copy, and I said, this looks like a blast. Let's play this on the show. So that'll be tomorrow right there. Not a Word. Show up. You might win it, or not that one, but you'll win your own brand new copy. The nostalgia bait games seem to flop. Yeah, I mean, Ravnos, you can only do so much. I mean, that's the thing is there is... and the one he's talking about was kind of like a roguelike first person. It looked just like a Saturday morning cartoon. It was brilliant. And so I played the demo. And that's the thing. You have to be real careful with stuff like that because... there's a new game out right now which looks beautiful called Spirit of the Samurai, and it looks like a stop-motion video game. It's delightful looking. But fundamentally, a lot of people are saying it doesn't play very good, the combat's not good, so you can only... that'll get you in the door, right? The good looks of the game or the really cool visual style. But if it turns out that it isn't... great on its own, like even if it just looked generic, then no, it's a problem. The game would have been amazing in 1999. Sadly, a lot of older folks stopped gaming. Well, I mean, I think that's why maybe it should be something that's more, again, kind of mainstream at a play mechanic standpoint. Like, what can you do with that nostalgia? But it's something that's more, easy to embrace for the audience that actually would be connecting with it. Why don't you launch a woke folk with Jaffe stream and only cover games with disabled trans black women? I don't know if there's a lot of games with disabled trans black women, and I don't cover games that are specifically about woke people, but I will cover games that are specifically interesting. So if you have one of those games that you're making, let me know and I'll talk about it. Have the creators on. I might do that. I'll reach out to them. But right now I got 3 people lined up. Like I said, I'm talking to a lot of peers. I'm hoping Evil Lore reaches out. And then don't forget Monday, we have, me and Victor Lucas are doing a deep dive into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So if you haven't played it or you're curious about it, give it a play because we'll be taking calls if you want to share your theories and thoughts about the game. It is my favorite game of the year, probably. Haven't finished it, but probably. And it's also Victor's game of the year. And so you got 2 big fanboys talking indie, came up with the character. And so that should be a good chat. That'll be sometime Monday. I'll give you times. I don't know yet. Jaffe, there's a demo out for the fighting game you just showed. Really? What's really on Steam? Film Gamer, thank you. Cult Calypso for 18 months. Hopefully we'll see you at lunch with Jaffe this week. Looking forward to Intergalactic and Witcher 4, ignoring negativity surrounding them and planning to enjoy them. Enjoying the hell out of Witcher 3, 4 hours into it. Hope life has been good. It has. Thank you. And I'll tell you something else. I will say that I like seeing a lot of the gaming culture online start to push back on this and go, look, man, I'm seeing a lot more wisdom in the comments from not just on our show, of course, because we have the smartest chat out there with the exception of 4 people, but I'm not going to tell you who they are. But just on the internet, comments, Twitter, people actually starting to go, okay, wait a minute. Now you've gone a little bit too far. It may be that Avowed is shit. It may be that Intergalactic is a woke fire, dumpster fire, the likes of which we haven't seen since Concord. It may be that The Witcher 4 is just filled with nothing but ugly people and they have disdain for their audience. But it's pretty nice when you've got the audience going, wait a minute though. That's Obsidian. They've made some of the best RPGs ever that I love. That's Naughty Dog. They've made some of the best games ever that I love. That is CD Projekt Red, which Witcher 3 aside and the terrible launch of Cyberpunk 2078 aside, they have made some of the best games ever that I love. And so while you may be right, grifters, you may be right, and thank you. I'll get back to you, Grums, if you're right. Not me, but that's what they're saying. I'm not going to just jump off the cliff with you just because you want to jump off the cliff. And I think that's cool. I like seeing that. I like seeing a little bit of critical thinking going on, man. It makes me happy. I'm a super anti-woke, says Atar, but Ciri being the protagonist is something most Witcher fans wanted. So the idea of her being MC, main character, is fine by me. Plus, you got to remember, I mean, you're talking about Poland. Poland is not some hotbed of wokeness. I'm the most progressive guy you know. I got no issues with wokeness as I define it. But yeah, I mean, it looks fucking cool, man. Looks fucking cool. Oh, Kenny says, I'm still waiting for the answer from the Gamergate Avengers. What was DEI about Forspoken and Star Wars? I can speak to Star Wars. I played it, loved it, finished it. I would say nothing. I mean, unless you want to identify anytime something has somebody gay in it. There's a merchant who's a woman who has a wife. Short of that, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. As for Forspoken, I haven't played it, but it's on PS Plus right now. I played the demo. I liked it, but I wasn't in the mood for a big game like that. Am I taller than Todd Howard, says Frank. I have no idea how tall Todd Howard is. I'm 5'6", so whatever that means. The irony in Snowflakes crying about wokeness is they aren't woke. Female protagonists are common. Well, again, though, yeah, Ice, I get it. I think the one thing that I have heard people saying is that it's not so much that I have a problem with this particular woman. It's the fact that what if it represents a general disdain for the audience and wants to totally be more about, let me tell you my progressive thoughts versus let me take you on a cool adventure. And I get that when you're spending this kind of money, but I don't agree with them, but I get it. I think there's logic in that statement. Dustin Hadid, thank you, buddy, for his super chat. It's his third super chat on the show. He says, I played Indiana Jones because of you, and I loved it. Buddy, did you finish it? I love it as well. Alex asked me, but I wouldn't tell him, but I will tell you. He says, where are you at, Jaffe? Let's just say I'm in the ship that's hanging over the, and boy, it's delightful. It's delightful. I'll probably play some of it tonight, actually, but I want to finish Among Ashes, and I'm at the last part, and I'm struggling to figure out what to do next, but absolutely love it. Todd Howard's 5'2". Oh, well, yeah, then I'm taller. Have I seen the Rebel Wolves studio announcement? I don't know. Let me check. Rebel Wolves. Hang on. Knockoff. Okay, Rebel Wolves. Making an AAA RPG the better way. And this is these guys, if you don't know. Are the former Witcher devs? Yeah, Witcher, Cyberpunk, many others. Team comes first. Oh, God. Good luck. I don't need to see that. I guess they're trying to hire people, but they said, we decided to create our own studio and run it on our own terms. Chief among those terms, the team comes first always. Happy people make great games. Game players want and deserve. Yes, it's as simple as that. No, it's not. No, it's not. Happy people do not make great games. Passionate, driven, competitive people make great games. That's just the goddamn truth. Now, you can be happy about that, or you can be pissed about that. But no, that's not how it works. You want to compete? You want to take people's money out of their wallets and get their fucking ducats and be top of the food chain? It's not about being happy. That's a load of shit. But again, they are trying to hire people. So, but then if I was applying to jobs, I would be worried about applying to the studio. Because if they'll lie to you here, if you don't know enough to know that they're lying, you don't have enough experience to probably work here. And if you have enough experience to work here, you have enough experience to recognize this is horseshit, which means you're going, I'm working for a bunch of liars, in my opinion. In my opinion. It's hard making games. It's really fucking hard. Shut up, Bukaki. Shut up, Bukaki. Ken Levine doesn't look happy. No, he's busting his ass. He's trying to will something into existence when all the forces in the universe, everything from teammates who want to do something different to money that's running out to his health, not that he's unhealthy, but in terms of just you get older and you're tired and you got sleep, all these things don't want any of that. They just want you to not move and not expend energy. Yeah, happy people aren't that concerned with entertaining an audience. It's true. My pain, your entertainment, says Jay-Z. The news article. I don't know. What about it? Rebel Wolves. Rebel Wolves. News article. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. What am I looking at? This one? Bandai Namco. Here we go. Former Cyberpunk devs, the blood of Dawnmaker will get the full reveal in time for full moon. January 13th, next full moon. Gather around at Dawnwalker Game Twitch channel to hear about Vale Singora. Abe Vagoda, what? It's turbulent history, natural landscape, secret inhabitants. Witness the premiere of the CG trailer serving as the game's opening. The fuck is this? The fuck is this? Oh, shut up. Just show me a game. I don't care about teasing your shit. Show me a fucking game. This doesn't work anymore. It's not like 2005 where it's like, oh my god, oh my god. Like if this was a brand we knew, this would matter. I'm not saying it's not going to be the game of the year. I'm just saying, really? Shut up. Shut up. Again, I don't care. I'm not saying I won't like it. I'm just saying that I think that's a waste of time and resources and really is tone deaf. Announcing a teaser is annoying unless it's already something we're actually excited about. Like, oh, here's the GTA new thing or whatever. It's hard to make games, says Kenny, which is why the grifters piss me off because they couldn't build a paper mache. Yeah, I mean, but again, you know, let's put it this way. One could argue the grifters that harmed, okay. Let's just say this. One could argue that the grifters that actually harmed a game and caused it to fail or contributed to its failure probably at least did the work to understand their audience more than the people who made the game that those grifters are shitting on. But I agree with you. I mean, I find a lot of these people, you know, just horrible. Horrible. But, you know, credit where credit's due. They understand what their audience wants, and they serve it up to them, you know. For better or for worse, I suppose. Mark says, hey, Jaffe, yeah, with a picture of David Spade. I'm 40 years old. I'm having a gaming version of a midlife crisis. Please help. I need a little more information before I can offer you my wisdom and my preaching. What have I played that deserves a second chance that you want to see it completed, Jojo? Well, you may have gotten here late, Joe, but at the beginning of the show, I re-downloaded this game right here, actually, which is Astro Bot, because, you know, contrary to popular belief, I don't hate Astro Bot. I just played up until it got kind of hard and frustrating, and I'm like, oh, it's this kind of game. That's not for me. But up until that point, I was really enjoying it. But now I have learned today that this level is excellent and it's worth playing. And I love Christmas themed stuff and I love the Christmas season. And so you have to have finished the game, of which point I'm almost done with it. So I'm going to re-download it and play it just so I can play this level. So, you know, I guess that is kind of like a second chance. Jojo D, maybe. Where did that guy's question go? Did he ever respond? Mark M, did he say what he means by a midlife crisis? It's a brand new level. Yes, just came out. Just came out today or yesterday. It's free, but you have to finish the game. Fuck you, Bukaki. You ain't got shit. You ain't got shit. By the way, tomorrow, I also want to let you know, on this channel, under the community tab, there is a link for members of all tiers to a poll about this channel and the shows and what you like and what you don't like. And it's just 10 questions. I'll be sending out the same, an altered one, but the gist of it would be the same tomorrow for non-members, but it's still up there. So I sure would appreciate it. In fact, let me give you the link right now. And if you're considering it, that would be fantastic. I don't take any of your information. It's on Google Forms. So you would need to have a Google account, but you know, if you have one or you don't mind making one, that would be great. I'd love to get your feedback in order to find ways to improve the show. I've already taken some of the feedback. I just put this up yesterday into account on today's shows, and I'm not going to tell you what they are because I want to see if they just work by themselves. But there's been some really great, comments and and really great feedback, and I sure do appreciate it. So this is the one for members. Actually, no, I'm not going to put it there because anyone could fill it out. So if you're a member, it's in the members community tab here on YouTube or on Patreon. Tomorrow I'll be putting up the one for non-members, but thank you guys. Matt Booty and Spencer have steam coming out of their ears at the success of Astro Bot. It hasn't been that successful. It's been, I mean, it's what, 1.7 million. I mean, maybe it'll get up to 3 to 5 million, which is fine given it only cost about 60 million to make. But the idea that this is some kind of slam dunk, no. I mean, the sales don't prove that out. I don't know what that means. It's literally a viral hit. I mean, it's a hit with awards, but I mean, who gives a shit? That's just marketing. I'm not raining on the parade, Bukaki. I'm just saying, shut up. Ravnos, it's a great question. Is the Christmas theme just nostalgia bait? If you remove Christmas, would the level be meh? I haven't played it, but if this wasn't Christmas themed, I would not play it. I would not be re-downloading it. Yes, for me, this is, I'm only interested because it's Christmas nostalgia bait. And if it turns out to also be great, fantastic. But no, I would, if someone's like, hey, there's a great new level in Astro Bot, I'd be like, there's a lot of great levels in Astro Bot. I still don't want to play it. Thank you, Jojo D. I appreciate it. Well, I'm trying to stream more. I'm streaming twice a day now. People seem to be happy about that. So I don't think I treat it like a hobby. I might be bringing somebody on to work with me as well. How much do you need to donate for me to stream Indiana Jones? I don't really know if I should stream Indiana Jones because that's a game that's easy to spoil for people. But sure, if you want to send me right now, in the next 5 minutes, if I get $100 in let's create a goal. Here you go. Pick a goal. Let's do 10. Let's do in the next 5 super chats in 15 minutes. We'll stream Indy tonight, but let's see. They got to be. Let's do. It's got to be. I got to do 15. So $150. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to do it. Because, I mean, I'll do it. I'll do it happily if you pay me. But there's the goal. 15 super chats in the next 15 minutes. Then I'll be happy to do it. But, I'm not a contrarian. I'm not a contrarian. I have played Mario Odyssey. I enjoyed it. Didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. Look, I loved Elden Ring, right? If you look at the games that were nominated, Silent Hill 2 is one of my top 5 games of the year. That's not contrarian. I love Mouthwashing. That's not contrarian. I love Balaltro. That's not contrarian. Fonzie says, saying you're not a contrarian is such a contrarian opinion. Fuck you. Here's what I'll say. I have probably, because of my experience, and I don't mean experience like I'm some kind of badass. I mean experience like I've experienced a lot of games and game design, and I see games a little bit different because I don't just look at them as entertainment pieces, but it's very hard for me not to recognize tropes in the mechanics that I've done over and over and over ad nauseum. And so I'm sure that plays a part. And also I don't have the struggle that some people have, which I totally understand and I totally appreciate, which is, hey, I don't have the money to buy games as often as you do. So when I play something, I have a different relationship with it. But if I play something and I get bored, there's nothing stopping me from going up. I'm moving on instantly. So it's just more of a different, Spidey. It's more of it's just kind of a different relationship. It's not an intentional sense of being a contrarian at all. I hate people who feel like they're trying to go out of their way to be like different like that. I think that's incredibly false and not fair. Yeah, there you go. Sky says Jaffe's not a contrarian. He's just old and bitter. Yeah, there you go. We'll all be there someday. If you're lucky. Don't you do that, Alex. Don't ask him to pay extra money. He's already paid more than he needed to. But thank you, Alex, for the Indy Jones, baby. But But you've played it. Seriously, would you want me to ruin that game for people? I mean, I guess as you're a grown person, you can decide if you want to tune in or not. And thank you, Alex. Indy Jones, baby. JJD, can you pay the rest? And no, please don't ask me to do that. Please don't. But why would you want someone... Here's what I would say. We're doing, like I said, not Kevin, I'm looking at Kevin's thing. Victor Lucas and I are doing a deep dive into what we both consider probably the best game of the year for us, personal, on Monday. If you are considering playing it and you'd like to be part of that conversation, then you should go play it. Unless you want to be part of the conversation and you just want to watch people play it. But I'm loving it. I just think it's fucking delightful. Just fucking delightful as fuck. So, all right. Well, anyway, fellas, that has been. We're not going to hit this goal, and we shouldn't hit this goal. It's ridiculous. But that said, though, I appreciate it. Alex, thank you, buddy. A lot of people. Oh well, now okay. K Nubs is in. Okay, well then yeah, I'll stick around. I'll stick around until the timer runs out. Thank you, K Nubs. Very, very generous. He says, "Am I doing it right? First ever super chat on any channel. You're doing it exactly right, buddy. Thank you for that generosity. Thank you for the membership. Thank you for the support and being part of our community. And look, now we're up to $12. We're not almost there, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We'll see where we end up." Alana has agreed. She said she's coming on. She'll do it after the new year. So we have to figure out when that is. But I'm hoping the couple after a few weeks in January we'll have her on, and I'm looking forward to chatting with her. So yeah, she's already doing it. Sorry, I'm enjoying Great Circle, but put it down for Witcher 3, says Film Gamer. Yeah, I mean. For me, the Indiana Jones part is really what creates my love of the character in the world definitely goes a long way, but that's not for everybody. And so if you're just playing it stand up alone and you've never played Indy or watched the Indy or have affection for Indy, I couldn't tell you. I've been surprised that a lot of people have said, hey man, I like this even without knowing or caring about Indiana Jones. But yeah, how far am I? I am at, without spoiling anything for anyone, I am at the part where there is the boat that's kind of teetering thing. That's all I'll say. Cantankerous, thank you, buddy. Ducats for war stories. I'm going to tell you a war story right now. You've been paying for these goddamn things, and I appreciate it. Hi, Ace. I think my dog is hungry. Hang on. Okay, are you hungry? All right, here's what I'm going to do. Don't go anywhere, or go wherever you want, but I'm going to come back, and I'm going to tell you a war story, but I got to feed the dog. Give me 2 minutes. Shut up, Kevin, you fuck. Okay. A war story, eh? Okay. What do you want, Cantankerous, a war story about? Let's see. Give me a game. How much for the Indiana Jones stream? It's I don't know. 15 super chats. Basically it's $150, right? So however we get to $150, but I'll leave it up there. Does it burn when you pee? I've made a stupid amount because you don't need to pay me to fucking stream the game. I just don't want to stream the game, but I'm happy to do it if you want. All right, calling all cars. Calling all cars. Okay. Shut up, PK. Are you making fun of my math? Okay, calling all cars. Let me think of a good story for that. I'm trying to think of one during the making of that game. Oh, it's totally delisted, yeah. I'll put it up on the screen so people know what I'm talking about. Let me put up the trailer. Yeah, it was a good game. It was an absolute good game. There was, some issues with it. I wish I would have thought to really fight for team mode and fought for better defense, because when I read the review of the game, and I think it was Eurogamer, they talked about like where's the defense in the game, and there was some but not near enough. And so it ended up being like a wonderful piece of bubblegum, but it ran out of flavor really quickly, and there wasn't a real strong reason to keep playing it. Hey, Kenny, thank you, buddy. He says, super chat is 5th super chat, man. Thank you, buddy. He says, Jaffe, not for an indie stream. Keep up the good work. It'll apply to the indie stream, Kenny, but still, thank you, buddy. Thank you for being part of our community and hanging out and spending some time with us, Kenny. I do appreciate that, buddy. Let me just think. I'm trying to think of some moment-to-moment development, because here's what I will tell you, Cantankerous. This was the easiest game. Talking about that other team about games, happy people make good games. This was the easiest game I had ever worked on, and I think Scott would agree. I think a lot of the teammates would agree that it just felt not effortless at all. It was everything's a challenge, but it kind of came together. People had fun working on it. It was definitely enjoyable. But it just couldn't deliver because we never made a game like it. We should have built more strategy. We should have built more team stuff. We should have built a meta into it. Because, the goal of it really was to make something that played like NBA Jam. And I think we did do that, but it needed more by the time it came out. What I will say though is, I'm not being too hard on myself. I love this game, but it didn't have a lot of staying power. Even for me, I love playing it, and after 2 rounds, I'm good for a while. And that's a fault of the game design. That's not me being hard. That's just me being honest. But the thing that really was a good lesson here, was that, again, back to the team, this was originally designed to be a R. Crumb inspired. If you don't know R. Crumb, he's an X-rated, hard R-rated cartoonist. So there was meant to be nudity and crazy little sex happening in the windows, and it was meant to, be very body and R-rated and all this shit. And the guys on the team, a number of them were seriously religious people, and they took issue with that. And instead of either pushing back or going, okay, well, I respect that you don't want to do that, but we're not going to make this Warner Brothers because this won't sell. And I just didn't really think about it enough. And I was like, okay, well, job well done. It's a brand new company and we've avoided half the team being pissed, but that wasn't a real success because fundamentally this was basically a PS3 launch window game, and no one that went out and spent $6.99 or $5.99 was going to be interested in something that, no matter how good or bad it played, looked like a game for your little brother. And I should have realized that was a fight worth fighting. Or an executive should have realized. Like I'm saying, people give executives a hard time. A good executive is worth their weight in fucking gold. I don't know how much people weigh when it comes to gold, but because somebody should have pulled somebody aside and said, look, I know you're the shit right now, Jaffe, because you just came off God of War. You got all these awards, everybody blah, blah, blah. But you're sailing into some choppy waters. I want to make sure you know that. The audience for this, you've basically just sort of designed yourself out of the audience in order to not make the religious people on the team upset. And I absolutely should have either recognized it or had someone else recognize it, and I should have been open to it, but I never heard that. The other thing I'll say is that, again, if you look at the game, it would not have taken much to make this just a game people are still playing today. There's the defense, like watch what happens. So you've got the hammer so you can steal it, but watch the guy who's got the criminal, right? If somebody's driving with the criminal right now, there's very little. Yes, there is a gameplay mechanic where you can jump to avoid the hammer, but it was so hard to do. And like, look at this, nothing that guy could have done. So what ends up happening is, as frantic and fun as it is for a couple of rounds, when you start to feel like there's nowhere else to go when it comes to your ability to grow and learn and be successful, it's too shallow, right? There was a little bit of depth built in, but there was not near enough. And that's frustrating because you look at it now and after I read that, that's one of the reasons I've always been grateful for reviews that are negative but helpful. Like the IGN review for Drawn to Death was crude and rude and disrespectful and just crap, Bush League. But I mean, they have their right. What do I care? But we got a similar score. They gave us a 4 out of 10. Owen Good over at Polygon gave us a 5 out of 10. It wasn't much better, obviously. Really, Jaffe? We can't do math. But it was smart. And I was like, okay, I'm going to learn. I've learned stuff from his review. I learned from this game that it's like, dude, that review at Eurogamer that was like, where's your defense? Where are those mechanics? That opened my eyes. I appreciated that. So there you go. So that's what I'll say. There's a war story for you. Maybe I'll cut it and I'll dedicate this war story to Cantankerous Games. I like doing them a lot of times. Like it takes somebody to say, talk about this or talk about that. Cause you got to remember, what actually, occurred. This level here, man, this level's nuts because the camera is, it doesn't move. It doesn't really, it tracks, but it doesn't rotate, right? And you don't have any camera control because we wanted it to be very, very, very simple and to pick up and play. And the way this was solved, I don't know if, you probably can't tell how we solved it because basically originally when we had this level, we wanted the trains, but people were running into the trains all the time because the way the camera is, you don't know when the train is going to be there. So you run smack dab into it. It's like, what the fuck? So eventually someone recognized the solution, which is there's invisible collision detection on all the trains. So no matter when you hit the train, if you're coming at it, there are ramps on the train. So you'll see in a second, he'll come into the screen and he'll probably hit a train, but it won't slow down the pace of the game because see that he jumps. And he'll probably hit another one right here. So it let us get the level that we wanted, without, sacrificing the trains. So, it was cool. It was a really fun experience. I can't port this to mobile. I'm not a programmer. I don't have the code. It's PS3 architecture. The guy who, he wasn't Scottish, but he was great. He's like, it's a hot potato. And you can use that for ramps too. It was great. Really fun game. Could have been even greater, but all right, fellas. Well, there you go. We just got another super chat. Thank you. It doesn't look like I'll leave the goal up. Once we hit the goal, it may take us a week to hit it, but K-Nubs, thank you. He says, hey, chat, if you donate the remainder of the goal, we can save Ace. If you guys really want an Indiana Jones stream, we'll see if we can hit that. But again, maybe if I can get you interested in coming to the Victor Lucas talk or the Victor Lucas discussion, which I'm sure you guys will come to, we will, hopefully you will have played it or watch someone stream it or watch me stream it by then, because I think it's going to be a really fun conversation between some hardcore fans of that brand. So, All right. Are we at half the no, Alex, we're not close to being, but thank you for that, Alex. Thank you for your super chats, buddy. But no, we are currently like at $20. We need like no. Goodbye. Don't. But we'll do it later. In the meantime, though, seriously, thank you, fellas. Thank you for hanging out, talking games, supporting me and the show and the various super chats and members and just good discussion. Thanks, you guys. Tomorrow is Jaffe Stream in the morning, a Gabbin' and Games in the afternoon. Lunch with Jaffe's coming up Thursday for Cult Calypso members and higher and all the mods. Then Monday is the chat about Indiana Jones deep dive with Victor Lucas. And we'll probably do something this weekend as Christmas rolls in. So, all right, fellas. Thank you very much. Like it, subscribe, consider a membership, all of that good stuff. Tell your friends to come on down to the whatever. All right. I'm out. Be well, guys. Bye, everyone. Oh, and thank you, mods. Thank you, Bukaki. Of course, thank you, RPG. Really, really appreciate it. Good to see you, Rob the Mod. Feel better, bud.